what are your emotions for a release day, knowing, so much effort has went into this for decades by you?
Can I get back to you on that?
Yeah.
My name is Charlie Sawyer, and I wrote a book called The Arrival of B.B. King. And I'm privileged to be part of today's event, which you might call the return of B.B. King or the departure of B.B. King.
One thing I'll tell you, I always love to tell this about the funeral. We were sitting there in the pews, and my son, Daddy, when you get up there, get up real close to the mic, because that mic really sucks. Okay? And a little while later, Sherry mentioned me. She said, when you get up there, really lean into that mic, because that mic is terrible. Okay. Then came my turn, and I stood up and I walked up the aisle and up the steps to the pulpit, the podium. And there was a little man down behind the podium. And I bent down and he said, get up real close to the mic, because it's a terrible mic.
It makes me laugh, Charlie.
So I stepped up to the mic and I said, I'm Charlie Sawyer, and I wrote a book about B.B. King. And a voice came from the audience, louder! And I recognized my wife's voice calling out from the audience, louder!
There's a great story about a flight BB missed to Halifax with some photos accompanying it. I don't want to give that away, but also I love the story about BB going right to the Gibson manufacturer to talk about Lucille. So people will need to go read that excerpt as well. But for me, there was a moment that I can't even imagine being a part of as you, Charlie. Of course, you taught history of blues in America at Harvard and would bring in these phenomenal guest speakers. And your friend, your hero, B.B. King, came for one class. And I love that there's a link available, and it's in the book as well. But you detailed the kind of stories he spoke about, including the difference between being in studio and live, that sound. But you are a blues musician. Getting the chance to perform in front of your students, around 300 people, with the legend, how nervous were you?
Well, I was very nervous in the anticipation of it all. It's a fairly complex thing to pull off, both locally and with Vivi. I knew I could count on Vivi. I didn't worry about his not showing up or something like that. But the anticipation was tremendous. And it relied on a few coincidences that were quite extraordinary. One was that I had already reserved that space, that performance space, not knowing if he was coming. And another is that he was passing the day before. He was in Florida. The day after, he's in Worcester, Massachusetts. So all he had to do was to hurry from Florida and to come. So
that's all he had to do.
And I told him, you don't know what this little performance will do for me and my local reputation. And I wasn't surprised that, I asked him, I boarded the bus when the bus arrived and the hall was filling up and all that, and I got on the bus with him and we got the bus parked. And I told him, we have never talked to you about my own music, but I am a musician and I play blues harmonica, and it would mean so much to me if I could play, one or a couple of songs with you while you're there. And he said, yes, sure, fine. And, but only you. He didn't want me to be standing in line. Come on up. Yeah, right. Yeah. And there is a picture, one of the pictures, I don't know if it was the exact moment, but after the first song, because he had never heard me play.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know. I didn't talk about my own musical life with him. So after we played the first song, I reached over and I pulled his coat sleeve, and I said, now tell me you're not a little bit surprised.
I have to ask, obviously, when we talk about that Harvard class, Toronto Raptors head coach Nick Nurse, also a musician himself, he took this course. You became friends over it. Why did you want him to write the appreciation to go in the book?
Well, I knew that it would be a bridge to another community, and it would bring people to the page because of Nick.
Sure.
And then what it is he had to say was exactly what I was looking for.
Hoping for, yeah.
And, well, I saw a chance to bring a friend. Same thing would go with the forward by Mike Welch.
Yeah.
To give them, I mean, now I had my little platform of notoriety, and I could bring them on. And also I like the idea, why would you expect something in the front matter of the book from a head coach of an NBA team? And Nick and I became such good friends because we share a kind of idea about friendship, which can reach beyond national borders, intellectual disciplines, age, generation, all that. And also, so Nick, as you see in the story in his book, Rapture, was a guy who could see possibilities where other people wouldn't. Going to Europe to coach was not an obvious way to get into the NBA. And he made the most of it time and time again. And just, the very fact that he sees a harmony between jazz music and basketball. I mean, that's a very unique perspective. And I knew that Nick would be able to do things for our book because of his seeing these possibilities. So, and I told him I have a lot of good fortune in my life, but among those bits of good luck is our friendship.
That's very
cool. And we email back and forth and so on. And of course, my son is mad for the Raptors. And we all are. We watch all of the games. I mean, he made a basketball fan out of me.
That's pretty big. I was going to ask if you're Boston fans or Raptors fans, but it sounds like Raptors fans.
We are now.
We are now. Of course, when the Raptors didn't go too far in the playoffs last year, of course, we then turned to the Celtics, and then they lost too. So
that's okay.
Maybe.
That's okay. Do you know if Nick aced your course?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Well, it was an easy A, but he did an outstanding job.
Yeah.